Hello, hello. Okay, we are going to get started now. Coach Kevin here, and I just want to welcome everybody onto our Zoom meeting today. And first thing I want to do is hop in to my screen, share with you guys, and share some things that should be useful to you and helpful. First thing I would like to share with you is that we have a Facebook group that coincides with this meetup that we'd like to invite you to join. It has the same name. I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it. The only difference is it doesn't have the city initials next to it. That's because this is the Facebook group for all the cities that we have the meetups in. So you can come join us here. You would, to find us, you would go into your Facebook search bar and start typing in, I want to be really rich and I do not apologize for it. You're probably not going to have to type all of that in before you find it. Another way to find it, if you can remember, is facebook.com/groups/ I want to be really rich. So why would you want to join the Facebook group? A few different reasons. Reason number one, if we have anything special to announce, it'll usually be pinned up here at the top for you guys. The other reason is because we actually, as long as I remember to do so, and so far I've been remembering, to record the meetings. So what we do after the meetings have been recorded is sometime typically later in the day or in the next morning, the recording will be made available to you in the group. So that's another reason. Why else? Because it's a place where we can interact with each other outside of the 45 minutes or so that we have with each other on Monday through Friday. And for instance, see right here, we've got one of our members had some questions and answering those questions, interacting with each other. The other thing that you'll find in here is from time to time, we will have some material that we're going over together. And for instance, right here, here's a PDF file. So here's actually an ebook. It's actually a paperback book and a Kindle book. However, this is a PDF version that you guys can have for free. And so when I can find materials like this so that you can follow along with what we're doing, they will also be placed in the Facebook group. So I just wanted you to know the value of coming and joining us. So please do. Again, just go to I want to be really rich and I do not apologize for it. Type it in a Facebook search and here we are. Okay, next thing I want to share with you right now is what we are actually in the process of going through. We are in the process of going through a book called Hidden Treasures. Now, I just showed you that you can go get it in the group. However, if you would like to go get it in its original form from the source I got it from, the author of this book is actually a friend of mine. Have known her for quite a while. She has been a coach for Bob Proctor's programs. And I went through one of those many years ago. I've also become a coach and facilitator for Bob Proctor's programs. And then she and I, not at the same time, but she and I over time chose to do what we do independently. So we're still friends with each other, still friends with other people that we've associated with in relation to Bob Proctor. Both have been coached by Bob and his team personally and had that great experience. Leslie Householder is her name, the author of this book. And let me tell you a little bit. Well, first of all, this is where you go, hiddentreasurebook.com. Go down just a little ways on the page and you can see, click here for free download. You know the drill, name, email address probably, and then you'll be able to download it. But why are we going through this piece of material right now? Well, what I'm trying to do is help you guys understand what it's going to take to manifest more money and more wealth in your life. That's the particular focus of our meetup group, is to help you increase in those areas. If you increase in other areas of your life as a result of what you learn, terrific. Many people do. However, the specific focus that we have, and that hence the name, right, is to help you attract more money and attract more wealth into your life. And most of you have heard of the law of attraction. Well, a lot of you guys don't understand that there are actually 7 laws, not just the law of attraction. And by the way, the law of attraction is a subsidiary law of the law of vibration. There are actually 7 universal laws, not those aren't all the laws universal, but there's 7 universal laws that will govern how successful you are at attracting money into your life. Some of you knew that. Very few of you probably already knew that. You're like, I thought it was just law of attraction and me going out and doing work, right? Becoming a business owner, entrepreneur, or getting better at my job or profession. No, there's more to it than that. That's why you possibly haven't received into your life what you want. So Leslie has actually taken the time in her book to share those laws in some detail. And I'm using it since she made it available for free a couple years ago. That I'm using it as a tool to share with you right now so that you can understand what it is that is required. It's not optional, it's required. You need to know what these laws are and you need to obey them or you'll hurt yourself. What do I mean by that? Let's take the law of gravity as just a quick for instance, and let's pretend you are a little baby. Let's say you're big enough to crawl and climb onto things, not quite able to walk and not able to really talk, okay? So what you do is you find a chair or whatever, you climb on top of it, and from that chair, you climb onto the countertop. Let's pretend you have one of those islands in your home, right? Those kitchen islands. And you start crawling across the countertop. If you don't slow down before you get to the end and you keep crawling, you will fall. Period. End of story. Unless there's somebody there to catch you, you will fall. That's because of the law of gravity, okay? And just because you're a baby and you're completely innocent and you didn't know any better doesn't mean you won't suffer the consequences of crawling across the countertop and going too far and falling off. The consequences happen automatically by law, okay, by universal law. So a lot of us are doing the same thing unknowingly to ourselves as that baby did to itself, what you did to yourself as a baby, crawling across the countertop and falling off the other side. You didn't know any better. You weren't trying to do anything wrong. You're a good person. I mean, everything about what's going on in your life would say that, hey, this isn't somebody that deserves to be punished or hurt, okay? But it is happening to you because you're disobeying a law. But if you understand the laws and know how to make them work, then things will turn out much better for you. So that is why we've chosen to go through this book. Currently, we are on lesson number 6, which is of the PDF file, page 79. Lesson number 6 on page 79 of the PDF, law of cause and effect. And by the way, if you're typing things into chat right now, let me just share with you how things go. I'm going to pay 0 attention to chat until a certain point in what we're doing. That's to keep things on track, okay? We will leave about 10 or 15 minutes towards the end where here's what you guys are all going to be able to do who want to. You're going to be able to share your comments. You're going to be able to share your experiences. You're going to be able to share maybe some things you learned, some ahas. You're going to be able to tell us if you had success manifesting things, how you're able to do it. And what most people actually end up doing are asking a lot of questions, either in relationship to what we're reading right now and studied today, and or what in relationship to manifesting more money and wealth in your life. So as I go through this process, I don't pay attention to chat. Actually, I don't pay attention to chat at all, even the other, because I ask you to come off mute and actually talk with me, okay? I just want that to be known so that you're not constantly trying to message me through chat while I'm trying to take care of everybody, okay? Let's see, I just need to move something around for myself here so I can see a little better. It's not anything that you guys see right now, but okay. Lesson 6, law of cause and effect. This is probably more familiar territory to many of us. In essence, this is the law of the harvest, or the golden rule, or the new law that Christ presented during his earthly ministry. Hopefully this discussion will help you see it as more than just a good idea. To be genuine, kind to people. It is more than just a good idea. It is a law that you'll either follow or break yourself against. Remember that by our rigid definition of law, There is no escaping the consequences. That is good news and bad news, depending on how you choose to live this law. The law of cause and effect states that every cause has an effect, and every effect has a cause. Nothing happens by chance. Everything that happens in the universe happens as a result of a law. There is order in everything. Nothing is unpredictable to God. Understand, however, that although he knows all things, his knowledge does not take away our free agency. That is another law that he abides perfectly, to give us our freedom to make choices. But he can know with certainty what will happen as we make those choices. This is because of the law of cause and effect. When I was a senior in high school, my AP English teacher put me on the spot about some of my religious beliefs. I was the only member of my church in the room, and very possibly the only Christian there too, since I was in a primarily Jewish community. As nervous as I was, I tried not to let my fears of being different overcome me. One of the topics on which he challenged me was, does God know how we are going to turn out? Yes, because he's all-knowing, I replied. Then it's pretty much already decided where we'll end up? So we're predestined, he concluded. No, he knows where we'll end up, but it's still within our control. How can it be within our control if he already knows the outcome? He knows us well enough to know the kinds of choices we will make, like parents who can predict the behavior of their child based on the child's nature. My teacher never seemed quite satisfied, and I was a little disappointed in what seemed to be a weak explanation. I chose not to take the confrontation personally, since I'm sure he was simply trying to challenge my critical thinking skills. But I've thought about that conversation many times since. And after learning about this law of cause and effect, I can see more clearly how God can know our future. In fact, our future should be just as predictable to ourselves based on our thoughts, the choices we make, and the vibration we maintain. Can we change the outcome? Yes, if we consciously make choices that change our vibration and decisions that are different from the ones we usually make. Making a course correction requires conscious effort, just as your automobile won't change directions, or will change directions unless you turn the steering wheel. Does God know if we will make the necessary changes or not? He may be all-knowing, but I believe this test in life is less about proving to God that we're fit for his kingdom, and more about proving to ourselves that we're willing to respect and obey the laws that govern it. We must go through this test so that in the end, we will know the final judgments are just. Newton's third law. We discussed much about the principles contained in this book in terms of basic chemistry, physics, and even geology. Like I said, I believe God uses the world around us to teach us lessons. This law of cause and effect is no different. For this lesson, I want to bring up Newton's third law. As stated in the chapter titled Newton's Laws of Motion from the Addison Wesley's 1988 edition of University Physics by Sears, Szymanski, and Young. To every action, there is always opposed and equal reaction, or the mutual actions of two bodies upon each other are always equal and directed to contrary parts. In my words, every action has a reaction that is equal and opposite, meaning an action away from you brings a reaction toward you, which is similar in nature. When you take a step toward the thing you desire takes a step toward you. James 4:8 shows us one wonderful way we may apply the law in our lives. Draw nigh unto God, and he will draw nigh unto you. Thinking about this law helps me believe that I only have to go half as far as I thought I might, because the thing I desire meets me in the middle. Do you want something good? Move in a good direction, and good things will happen or will begin to move toward you. If you plant a carrot seed, a carrot will come to you. If you plant a weed, you'll get a weed. Galatians 6:7 states, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Newton talks about two bodies. For the purpose of this lesson, let's think of the two bodies as being you and the formless substance. I would actually add to that formless substance. You can call it energy or matter. Okay. Why? Because if you think about this law in terms of you and another person, then the law seems to be inconsistent at times. Have you noticed if you serve someone, he or she may not serve you back? But if you serve someone, then you are putting good out into the universe, and by law, good will be returned to you from the universe. That is why you don't need to be concerned with the immediate reaction you get from someone you serve. A powerful illustration of the law of cause and effect. The following story has been told and retold in a variety of ways. I don't know where the idea originated, but it perfectly serves as an illustration of this law. So I'd like to summarize it again here. A man who had just lost his job was driving down an old 2-lane country road in his beat up car where he saw a nice new Cadillac pulled over on the shoulder. He stopped to see what was wrong, and an old woman explained that she had a flat tire and didn't know what to do. The man introduced himself as Joe and graciously changed the tire. When he was done, the old woman tried to pay him for his services. Smiling, the man refused, explaining that someone had helped him once before and that if she wants to pay him back, she should simply pass on the goodwill to someone else. The old woman was grateful and deeply touched by his unselfish gesture of kindness. Thanking him, she drove away. She thought about what he had done, and with a tender feeling in her heart, she pulled into a coffee shop to enjoy some hot chocolate. The waitress who served her was clearly 9 months pregnant, and her smile could not hide the weariness she felt. Still, never a complaint escaped her lips. Thinking again of Joe, it didn't take long for the old woman to decide how she would pass along the kindness as promised. When it was time to pay the bill, the old woman handed the waitress a $100 bill. With a smile, the waitress said, "I'll be back with your change." While the young woman was gone, the old woman slipped away. Bringing the change back to the table, the young expectant mother looked for the old woman, but only found a note, which said, "Keep the change. It's a gift for your baby." Tears filled her eyes as she looked out the window just in time to see the elderly lady drive away. Later that night, the expectant mother returned to her home, where her husband was waiting. She approached him from behind the couch and tenderly put her arms around his shoulders. She showed him the woman's gift and said, "Everything is going to be all right. I love you, Joe." Our actions are like perfectly obedient boomerangs. Whatever we send out will return to us by law. Remember, you don't have to know where your needed blessings will come from. Just know that they will come. Joe could have accepted the money, saved some time in the transaction process. She was a generous woman. Perhaps the $100 would have been his right from the start. But there's a message in this principle. If we immediately see the results of our kindness, then it's easy to take the credit. If we are kind and generous without expectation of reward, then it's the Lord's delight to involve as many people in the blessing as possible. And who can help but give him the glory when the blessing comes back from someplace unexpected? In this story, it only required 2 transactions for the blessing to come back to Joe. In our life, it might take 2, and then it might take 20, but it will come. Let this 6th law be a reminder to love one another as the New Testament tells us that Christ has loved us. Know that by this law, you cannot do something good and miss the reward. By the same token, you cannot be stingy, rude, or cheat someone without an equal reaction that will come back to bite you. You cannot be selfish or concerned with worldly acclaim without these unworthy motives securing your decline. Your thoughts have power to produce the things you need, but always maintain true and right principles in your efforts to obtain them. That thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. Seek abundance for the purpose of doing good, for helping others, for providing the necessities for your family, for paying all of your obligations in a timely and honest way. Do not seek abundance for impressing people or for proving anything to your neighbors. We have to watch what the things we do with our money are good things. This law must remind us that we will be caught if our actions are unworthy. Do not do good deeds in hopes that people will know you did and be impressed with you. Matthew 6:19-20 teaches us, lay not up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where neither thieves do not break through nor steal. Of course, it is good to seek riches if the riches are used to help us keep his commandments more completely. How abundantly has the Lord blessed you already? Are you striving to multiply what he has given you, as was taught in the parable of the talents? Or are you only in maintenance mode? Hopefully you aren't just hanging on to your talents, an ancient form of money, with a fear of losing them. As taught in Matthew, he who hides his talent will eventually lose it altogether. So we should seek an increase. Besides, we cannot offer financial relief to the needy if our own purse is empty. To do good things with the money is to lay up for yourself treasures in heaven. Pay 10% of your income to tithing. Put the Lord first, and there will be a way for your own needs to be met. Malachi 3:10 teaches, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Forget about luck. Think of luck as living under correct knowledge. Live by law, and you are lucky. People will start to say to you, everything just seems to come her way, or he is always so lucky. Luck is living under correct knowledge. Our final lesson in this book will address the timing concern. Keep reading it if you want to know. When will I see the fruits of my thoughts and my labor? How long do I need to believe? Okay. We are going to jump in and go a little bit further before we have our questions and comments. Lesson 7, law of, and I'm not going to end up doing this whole lesson, but part of it today. Lesson 7, law of gender and gestation. Throughout these lessons, we've been looking at the way our natural world operates, and we have been discovering parallels that help us understand how we can shape our circumstances. This final lesson does the same. The law of gender states that in all of creation, there is male and female in every kind. For life to perpetuate, there must be one plant to plant the seed and one to grow and nourish the seed. In some cases, one creature accomplishes both tasks. So for an idea seed to be created and then manifested in the physical world, there must be an idea planter and an idea grower. Your mind is the recipient of innumerable idea seeds. The media is trying to plant a field of ideas to get you to move into a vibration that is in harmony with their products. The adversary is trying to sell you a lifestyle through the other media that will only bring you misery. Your own genetics may be responsible for faulty thinking if you permit. So long as you let these influences plant their varieties, your results will be in their control, not yours. However, you may plant your own idea seeds. Choose good seeds by exposing yourself to good input on purpose. You can plant good seeds by creating a new, prosperous idea for your life. You have the power to create a picture in your mind that is completely original. Every thought seed sown or allowed to fall into the mind and to take root there produces its own, blossoming sooner or later into act and bearing its own fruitage of opportunity and circumstance. Good thoughts bear good fruit, bad thoughts, bad fruit. Allen. The law of gestation states that every seed has an incubation period. In other words, once a seed is placed in the right environment, it begins to develop and reaches maturity after a certain period of time. Farmers know just how long it takes for a pumpkin seed to turn into a pumpkin. They know just how long to wait before they should pull up the radishes. They don't panic when the strawberries are green instead of red. They know that the process just isn't finished yet. The same law applies in the animal kingdom. The gestation period is approximately 40 weeks for a human, 52 for an elephant, 2 for a mouse. Ideas are seeds too. Held in your mind and nourished there, they grow, mature, and eventually bear fruit. For a reminder of that principle, review lesson 1, the law of perpetual transmutation. Every idea also has a gestation or incubation period, but we don't know what it is. I do know that the greater the intensity of our seeking, the sooner we find. The degree of faith we have also has an effect. Both of these elements are within our control. I'll repeat that. I do know that the greater the intensity of our seeking, the sooner we find. The degree of faith we have also has an effect. Both of these elements are within your control. We can increase the intensity of our seeking. We can pray more fervently. We can fast. For example, try skipping food and water for 2 meals, replacing eating with meditation. We can focus our efforts, like sunlight and a magnifying glass. Our focused thoughts can cause a great effect. We can increase our faith through study and obedience. All of these things help us draw on the powers of heaven to our benefit. They put us in a vibration that is in closer harmony to God, and it is within reason to believe that the closer we are to the source of all blessings, the more blessed we will be. Everything has an appointed time. Things come in waves. The economy is like that. But does that mean that what you seek will come in its appointed time, regardless of your behavior? Not necessarily. All that you need is already all around you. So while you wait for it, you must be preparing yourself. Prepare yourself to receive. By faith, it comes. By action, you receive it. The sun comes and goes every 24 hours. If you are in a dark box and want sunlight, then you know that it already exists and will come to you. But if you do not get out or open the lid when it comes, you'll not be able to receive it. Perhaps the length of time you must wait depends on when you finally take affirmative action. If you come out of your box at midnight or noon, it won't matter. The sun will shine on you in time. Remember, all we need is already in the universe all around us. By applying these principles from the last 6 lessons, we are opening the lid on the box and preparing ourselves to receive the blessing. The length of time we must wait depends to some degree on what time of day we remove the lid. It may be a little different for everyone, but it will come, just as we can depend on the sunrise. We are putting ourselves in the right vibration to receive what we desire. A word about marriage to my single readers. Are you looking for the right one? Be the kind of person you seek, and the right one will be naturally drawn to you at the right time. If you continue to attract the kinds of people you don't want, you must change your vibration by changing your thoughts. Try to think the way the kind of person you want would think. If you want a spiritual companion, you must be spiritually minded. If you want a health conscious companion, you must be health conscious first. But remember, your vibration does not change by your thoughts alone, but by turning those thoughts over to your subconscious mind through strong emotional feelings. In other words, you must take time to imagine being with the kind of person you dream of and feel the joy of it now. Feel the gratitude you expect to feel. Imagine the prayer of gratitude you would expect to utter on the day of your wedding. We can be so stubborn. Elements in nature are predictable because they are obedient to God's laws. We, on the other hand, can be more stubborn. We have free agency to choose what we will become. We have within us a blueprint, a pattern plan for success, but we have the ability to choose something different by our thoughts. We can choose to become something less than what we were designed to become. That's kind of a scary thought. But at the same time, it's kind of comforting to know that our highest potential is nature's design. So it is more about allowing it to unfold than it is about making it happen. Let me repeat that. It's kind of comforting to know that our highest potential is nature's design. So it's more about allowing it to unfold than it is about making it happen. As we dream of becoming the best we can be, We're doing exactly what we were designed to do and very naturally move in that direction. With negative self-talk, we begin to grow toward a less glorious end. God teaches us by his laws how to reach our highest potential if only we would be obedient to natural law, as are the elements. Let's see, I am going to stop there for now. And let's see. Hey, more of you joined us since we started, which is typically the case. Welcome everybody who's here with us. Glad to have you here with us today. And so here's what we do now. Here's your opportunity to share your comments, to share your experiences, to maybe share your takeaways from what we talked about today and what we just read. Also your opportunity to share successes you've had in utilizing the law of attraction yourself with intention to manifest great things that you've wanted. And or the other thing you can do is ask questions. Questions, again, related to what we've been reading and studying, or any type of question in relationship to manifesting more money and wealth in your life. So the way that we do this is you just come off of mute and start talking, sharing your comment or question, and we'll take you in the order you come off and do that. If two of you come off at the same time, we'll try and figure out who was first, but you'll both obviously get the opportunity to do it. So it is time for you now to share your thoughts, your feelings, your comments, and your questions. All right, go for it. Everybody got to play shy today? So here's what I'm going to assume if nobody asks any questions. You must have all of the money you want and all of the wealth that you want in your life. Like 100% right now, it's all there with you.
I might ask a question, but I hate to take up your time. I've talked to you twice before.
It's okay. Those whoever wants to take advantage of the time are welcome to.
Okay, so I have to sell this big house, the $1.7 million house, right, in Utah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I have done everything I know how to do. As far as marketing, I've spent $2,000. I have fasted twice. I pray every day. I've written it on my bathroom mirror. It says, I am so happy and grateful now that I have sold the Wheelers home. Okay. I meditate on it. I've said, like I have the MLS sheet that says this home is active. I scribbled it out and wrote sold on it. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling myself every day it's going to sell by the end of the year, and stuff, but I don't.
Well,
okay. You have to have faith too, right?
Yeah. Well, let me help you with this. Here's the thing. If I were, so I'm going to talk to you as if I'm coaching you one-on-one. Others can listen in on this at this point. Let me ask you a question. What have you done in the last 7 days that on purpose to have a lot of fun? Forget the house. What have you done to go have fun?
Nothing.
Yep. I knew it.
Yeah.
Almost everybody I work with that is competent like yourself and good at their profession are overly focused on doing the work, and moment after moment, day after day, your mind is all consumed by getting this house sold. One, it would be a nice commission. Okay. But two, you've got somebody on the other end saying, get this thing sold, right? So hopefully they're not quite saying it like that, but you feel this thing and you feel it deeply. I found for myself, when I want something to happen like that and it's stuck, I have to go let it go. But letting it go is not, it certainly helps, but let go of it. Just don't think about it. Yeah, okay, right. That's, people have a challenge with that. So what I tell people is, and you should do this every week anyway. You need to have one day a week, all of you guys on here, one day a week where you do something on purpose, like you plan to actually go have a good time doing something you like to do. It doesn't always have to be grand, but it needs to be above and beyond your normal. Like if you normally, at the end of the day, plop down in front of the TV, I'm not saying that's what you do, but if that's
Uh-huh.
what you do and that's how you unwind every day, that's not going to be what I'm talking about. I'm talking about doing something that like really lights you up. I found personally a lot of times when I've been trying to do something like what you were talking about this years past when I was trying to sell something or whatever, and that was my focus. One of the things I would go do, not always, it had to feel right. I would go on vacation. I would take 2 or 3 days off and not do anything related to work. And almost
Yeah.
every time I made more money when I was doing that than I did when I was working.
We have a saying in real estate that if you want to sell a house, go on vacation. But we can't really do that right now.
No, that's why I'm saying you got to go do something that's fun. I
Yeah.
know, and don't use COVID as an excuse. There's got to be something that you enjoy doing or haven't done in quite a while that you could go do. And a day might be good enough, but it might take 2 or 3 days of doing something.
Yeah.
It's just gonna, and you got to release it and just say, hey, God, for the next 3 days, you please work behind the scenes in my behalf. What I would like to do is just recharge my batteries and not think about it for now. So if you and your angels, your heavenly hosts, whoever it is that you can send to help me out, if you could go ahead and take care of this for the next 2 or 3 days so I can just let go of it, I know it's in your hands and I'm just going to go have some fun.
Okay. Because I've been focusing on the fact that, I don't have to know how it's going to happen,
No,
you know?
but you're wanting it to happen. And so you're putting,
I feel like I'm too desperate.
yeah, it's actually the competitiveness. I'm not saying you're trying to compete. Yeah, you have to have read the science of getting rich and understand that a little bit to understand what I'm talking about. When you're trying to push something through instead of
Uh-huh.
allowing something to happen,
Right.
that's where, so it's like, well, maybe if I meditate more hard, well, meditation and visualization should never feel hard. It
Yeah.
it should only feel, you should come out of it totally refreshed when you're doing it in a way that's actually impressing the positive. But what you could be doing is, because you're trying to push because of a deadline and everything else. I know deadlines exist in our world, not God's. Okay. But people make deadlines.
True.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
But it's okay. My personal advice to you is go decide before, within the next hour, make up your mind something you're going to do within the next 3 days, no longer than 3 days from now, that you're going to go do something to have fun, and it's going to have absolutely nothing to do with real estate.
Okay. I will follow your advice and I will come back next week and tell you how it went.
Okay, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You heard her. Me too. Okay, anybody else?
Hi, this is Judy.
Hi, Judy.
I just have a comment. I got reminded of a cousin of mine in Canada who won the lottery in the early 2000s. And I
Awesome.
had a conversation with her, and she exemplified a lot of these laws, and she had faith. And so this law of gestation, from the time she was a little girl, she said that she always knew that she was going to be wealthy, that she was going to be rich. And when she got to Canada, she started buying lottery tickets. I think she was already 18, and it took 11 years, but she did it, and she said that that was the path for her. And I asked her, were you like jumping up and down when you won? And she said no. She said that was just the next step. So it was really at that time I didn't understand any of these laws, so I was a little confused with her reaction. But I understand, and I learned from her about what it is to have faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing she probably did, that when you asked that question of her about, celebrating, here's what I think she probably did. She probably celebrated it over the years so many times that when it happened, it was just normal.
Yeah, she said to me that it was natural, like it
Mhm.
was just the next step. I really didn't understand what she was talking about when she said that.
Yeah,
But I'm getting it now, you
yeah.
know, yeah.
By the way, now that you guys all heard Judy, my recommendation, listen to what Judy said also about she started when she was young and 11 years and everything else. That may sound pretty cool, kind of, but you don't have to wait 11 years. Why she needed to wait 11 years was this: it took 11 years of being consistent with that thought for her subconscious mind to agree with it. The reason I bring this up to you is, again, why it's not so recommended to use the lottery as your channel is, one, you're trying to force it through something when God can send it through multiple ways, so you don't have to wait so long. The other part is, too, the collective consciousness of the world, which is what this nice gal had to overcome, was that consciousness. There are billions of people on the planet that are sending out the vibration that it's nearly impossible to win the lottery. Or if I win, I win a few bucks here and there. Now, billions play throughout the world. I'm not just talking the US. Billions of people play, but they don't truly believe they're going to win it. And the world is programmed to say you're not going to win it. And then the other program is, if you win it, you lose it. So there's just all these things that are negative towards that. And so the collective consciousness and vibration out there has to be overcome for people to win jackpots. Their subconscious mind has to not agree with what the rest of the world is saying. Some people are pretty good about that and they don't agree with it more naturally. Other
Yeah,
people, because it's been gone into them for so long, that becomes their thing. So my recommendation is, if it feels right, it's interesting how many, if you look at how many people have won the lottery, the big ones, that actually it was like unusual for them to buy a ticket. Not like I buy it all the time or whatever, but it was like I felt like I should and won. That's the interesting odds right there, because the fact that that person even did it, because they haven't done it hundreds of times, they've did it once or twice.
yeah.
That part is mind blowing.
I hear what you're saying, Kevin, and I really am appreciative of what you said. I don't think she was open to any other ways that the universe could give her wealth. But it's interesting because the following year, I got laid off from my job, and about I went to Ireland because I
Okay.
had a trip planned. So I went, and I had, even though I got laid off, I
Uh-huh.
decided to be happy and
Yes, good.
enjoy my life. And then that was in June of 2010.
Okay.
Then in September, I actually won $10,000
Yeah. Yeah.
in the lottery,
Two
which was
reasons.
like, it
Yeah.
was mind blowing because I wasn't even thinking about it. It just
Well,
happened.
actually, you weren't, but guess what happened? Had you known that had she won already, or did you win the
Yeah,
10th
she had
quarter?
won. I had visited her the year before.
Okay.
I
Okay.
got laid off early 2010
Yeah.
and decided to go do the trip anyway.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happened. Your subconscious mind didn't fight it. You had a close relative that won it. You saw the process she went to. You were able to go, maybe me. Not that you were really focused on it,
No.
but your doubts went lower. And your faith went higher. Not that, again, it was a focus, and you had the faith to understand, or at least you intuitively felt, I still need to take this trip.
I also decided that, I was going to enjoy my life no matter what happened. And
Mhm.
it was that year that Iceland had those volcanic eruptions.
Okay.
So we thought that we had to cancel our trip,
Uh,
but my friend's mother prayed about it, and we were so happy. And then we teased her mom because we told her she over prayed. We ended up having like 75-degree perfect weather in Ireland, which was kind of unheard of. And we brought the wrong clothes. We had long sleeves. It was a really fun adventure.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I love it, Judy. Thank you for sharing. See, everybody, this is how this stuff works. What I'm trying to share with you is how to make it work consistently, like day in and day out kind of stuff, so that you can have it be a bit more predictable for you. Well, totally predictable, actually, and not a bit more, but to where it's like, okay, you can almost be your own prophet because you will actually purposely make these things happen consistently as you desire them to happen. And if you have a subconscious program that's in opposition to what it is that you want, then you will learn the process to go ahead and make that change in your programming so that your subconscious becomes your helper instead of your enemy. So thank you again, Judy. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments from anybody? Everybody's just pondering. Or maybe,
Excuse me, Kevin.
yeah. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Terrific. How are you, Tanya?
I'm great, thank you. Can you explain a little bit more about forcing it? With
Do you want to know how to force it? It doesn't work, but anyhow.
What do you mean by forcing it into your subconscious?
No. You don't force anything into your subconscious mind. Matter of fact, force is it's a competitive way of trying to create. It doesn't work, and it causes all kinds of havoc. So you don't force, you change and reprogram, but there's not a forceful way of doing it. It's a calm, peaceful way of doing it.
Oh, okay, I get it now. I
Okay.
misunderstood.
All right.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's why we're here. Q&A. All right. Well, we are past time. I want to thank everybody for spending some time with us today. And we will be here next week, Monday through Friday at the same time. And if you know other people that you think could benefit, feel free to tell them that you're here and this is going on and how to get onto the Zoom, call with us and enjoy this too. So you guys all have an amazing, wonderful, awesome weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You're welcome.